big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me what the topic.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. And I know, I've been gone for a minute and, well, not even a minute. I've been gone for the weekend. And today I just really wanted to come on here and just jump on with an impromptu live and kind of just touch base with everyone. Because it's been, yesterday made a whole month since Nolan Wells' body washed up on shores or was placed on shore. We don't even know. We just know that his body was discovered on the shores of Horn Island. We know that the 4th of July, he went out with his so-called friends, quote unquote, and he didn't make it home. And in this month, we have been shown exactly what is thought of us, how they feel about us, and I don't really care how anybody feels about what's going to come out of my mouth. The systemic racism has always been my focus, not the sensationalized headlines, not the, you know, fluffed up, amped up, whatever narratives. It hasn't been any of that. I've been looking at the systemic racism that has occurred in this case. I have watched a mother get up here and do interviews. And in each interview, the sadness, the heaviness, the depression, the confusion, the anger, the frustration, the outrage, the fear. I've watched all of that subtly sink into her. And what I mean by subtly sink into her is I have watched Christine Walmsley come on here and go from looking like she was sitting up crying all night to looking tired and heavy, but not weak. You know what? Let me do you a favor. Since you can't do yourself one, let me do you a favor, Keisha, because today is not the day for you or your foolery. And I think, you know what? I think today might be the day that you get banned. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody got time for you. We're talking about some serious shit. Go sit in the corner and think about what you did for a good 30 minutes. Bye, Keisha. Anyway, back to what we were talking about because we're talking about some real shit and we don't have time for clowns and foolery. You will get put the hell out of here. Now, as a mother, watching Christine go through what she go through, it breaks my heart to see how she has been harassed and it goes overlooked. I understand that she is under the advisement of Ben Crump, and Ben Crump is probably telling her, those are just distractions. Don't let it distract you. No, they're coming for her now. They're coming for her now. Some things, I'm sorry, not sorry. Some things you just can't overlook. Okay, I needed to switch to my computer because should anybody else decide they want to cut up and act up in here, I can get them out a lot quicker. Okay? Anyway, as I was saying, yes, add Christine to y'all prayers, y'all family prayers. Keep her uplifted because this battle that she is going through, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All she wants to know is what happened to her son. That's it. That's all. She just wants to know what happened to her son. She has not gotten out here. She hasn't accused anybody of anything. Yet it's being alleged that the community is turning against her because she brought Ben Crump out there. Ain't that what cousin Sunken Place said to us? That he should have never been brought out there? And let me tell you something about cousin Sunken Place. That's what I'm calling the man with the beard that was out here trying to sell us on a dream that they sold him. Y'all remember him? Okay, hold on one second. Let me get him up here for y'all real quick. And see, I was trying to rest today, but I'm restless today. So let's get him up here on this damn screen so we can look at cousin Sunken Place. This dude right here. Him. He sat up here and he said he's blaming Ben Crump and Al Sharpton for tearing up their community down there in Ocean Springs. Mind you, he's not saying that this situation that happened, you know, Nolan's death, it's not because of Nolan's death. It's because Al Sharpton and Ben Crump down there in Ocean Springs. Mind you, I don't see Ben Crump down there in Ocean Springs every single damn day. But let me go ahead and let me remind y'all of what cousin Sunken Place had to say.
There's a lot of blacks.
Can y'all hear it? Why am I not hearing anything? That's weird. Hold on one second.
Listen, man, I want to say this to you. I know it's probably not following your questionnaires, but that is a problem that we're having here. There's a lot of blacks, right along with a lot of whites, that are having this problem. When Ben Crump and Al Sharpton came to our state, I think one thing they did wrong was you can't come down here and start saying that our state is prejudiced. This is prejudiced place. This is the state that lynched and killed Emmett Till. Well, that was 71 years ago. And Emmett Till was killed for looking and whistling at a white woman. These days,
Emmett Till was killed because a white woman lied on him. And you want to sit up here and you want to tell us Mississippi is different? Did y'all see this? Black woman found hanging in tree behind vacant home in Jackson, but details are sparse. But you want to tell us that was years ago.
Crump and Al Sharpton came to our state. I think one thing they did wrong was you can't come down here and start saying that our state is prejudiced. This is prejudiced place. This is the state that lynched and killed Emmett Till. Well, that was 71 years ago. And Emmett Till was killed for looking and whistling at a white woman.
For looking and whistling at a white woman. Not because a white woman lied and said he looked and whistled at her. And he's saying that, hold on one second. He's saying, let me play it again for y'all.
A lot of blacks, right along with a lot of whites that are having this problem. Well, that was 71 years ago. A lot of blacks, right? This is prejudiced place. This is the state that lynched and killed Emmett Till. Well, that was 71 years ago. And Emmett Till was killed for looking and whistling at a white woman. These days, it's so many blacks having babies with white people.
So many blacks having babies with white people. He still talks blacks and whites. The way he talks, he's conditioned. This is cousin Sunken Space right here.
White men are marrying black women down here. We have so many sandy brown haired mixed babies running around down here. We are a gumbo down here. And another,
So many sandy haired mixed babies running around down here. We are a gumbo. Well, explain to us how this turned up in the gumbo. Okay? Jackson police are investigating the death of a black woman who was found hanging in a tree behind a vacant home in Mississippi's capital city on Monday night. The Jackson Police Department, which has not named the woman, said in a statement on Monday evening that officers located the body of an unidentified black female at the 500 block of, get this, Road of Remembrance at 9:05 p.m. The Clarion Ledger reported late Tuesday that Hinds County Coroner Jeremiah Howard had confirmed that the woman was hanging from the tree and that in the Mississippi hanging from a tree, and that the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office will perform an autopsy to determine the cause and manner of death. Police have not named the woman nor said whether they suspect foul play. Mississippi authorities have investigated other cases involving tree hanging deaths in the past year. In September of 2025, a group of student athletes found 18-year-old Delta State University student Trey Reed, who was black, hanging from a tree on the campus in Cleveland, Mississippi. His death raised fears of racially motivated murder, considering the history of hundreds of lynchings of black men. Hold on. His death raised fears of a racially motivated murder, considering the history of lynchings of black men that occurred in Mississippi in the late 1800s and early 90s. Well, this looks like a link, so let's click on the link and see where it takes us. Oh, y'all there with me? Okay. Buried truth, unresolved, disregarded Lamar Smith murder haunts Lincoln County. I bet it does. Lamar Ditney Smith left his home before 10 a.m. on Sunday, August 13th, 1955. Headed to the Lincoln Courthouse in Brookhaven carrying absentee ballots. His wife, Annie, would never see him alive again. 3 white men killed him on the county house lawn in front of dozens of witnesses. Not a single person would testify against them, and no public memorial honors his life or remembers his murder. Lamar Ditney Smith was home with his wife, Annie, out in the county west of Brookhaven, Mississippi, when the phone rang early on August 13th, 1955. When Smith put the receiver down, he told her he had to go into town, and he soon picked up a stack of papers and headed out. Those papers were absentee ballots. Smith, then 62, was campaigning against incumbent Beat 5 Lincoln County Supervisor J. Hughes James, and on behalf of challenger Joe Burrick, who was later the local sheriff in the 1960s. Both candidates were white, and in the August 2nd Democratic primary had made it to the upcoming runoff election on August 23rd. Black people didn't have much voting power then due to Jim Crow laws and racist voting restrictions placed since the 1890s Constitution. But Smith's campaign work could get James unseated. That meant that the black voting activist with his absentee ballot strategy was a clear threat to the balance of political power in Lincoln County. White folks had already threatened the black businessman to stop meddling in politics and even put him on a hit list for his efforts. His wife and NAACP investigators would later say. Smith knew he was risking his life to help black Mississippians build strong futures for themselves and their progeny. But that didn't turn him around, as his family members recounted that Keith Burachamp's 2025 documentary Murder in Black and White. Lamar Smith, like many black men of the time, Smith had returned from his tour of duty in World War I, confident and motivated to keep fighting at home for equality and upward motion for African Americans in Mississippi. On that August Saturday morning, 66 years ago this month, Lamar Dittany Smith set out for the courthouse in Brookhaven, the county seat that always prided wait, the county seat that has always prided itself on its old Southern charm, modern sophistication, and as a place to settle down, live a good life, and raise children. Jet magazine reported in 1955 that wife Annie would later regret not asking Dittany who was on the other end of the phone on their last Saturday morning together. Lamar Smith arrived at the Lincoln County Courthouse as dozens of people milled about on the lawn, there to socialize and take care of business inside the county building, as folks did on Saturday then. Walking up to the steps on the north side of the courthouse carrying his ballots, Smith encountered three white men. The triumvirate stepped up to block Smith, telling the veteran that he could not enter the government building, and he argued back. Suddenly, the local sheriff would soon learn a white man named Noah Smith pulled out his 38 caliber pistol and shot Dittany Smith in the ribs under his right arm at close range, near the northeast corner of the Chancery Clerk's office. His target then stumbled for about 30 yards on the lawn and fell into a Nandita bush, where witnesses then just stared. Theologian Tex Sample, then a 20-year-old local white man near the courthouse, was near the courthouse when Smith fell, told Keith Buranchamp that white people wouldn't allow anyone to try to save Smith, with one of them calling out, "Nobody carry that N-word with a hard R to no hospital." Once Smith was dead, somebody draped a sheet over him and he just lay on the grounds for hours, a haunting precursor to images of Michael Brown's body left in the street for 4 hours in Ferguson. 59 years to the week later, the next morning in Mississippi, the combined Clarion Ledger, Jackson Daily News, Sunday Page 1 blamed the victim in its headlines. Linked shooting of Negro with voting irregularities. DA says illegal ballots voted in the first primary. It followed by a subhead, "No witnesses to the murder have been found." The report stated, with a passive voice obscuring responsibility, that the shooting was linked to voting irregularities and that Smith was mysteriously shot and killed despite dozens of witnesses. The slain Negro, who was once convicted of bootlegging, the paper continued, was also under suspicion over an unusually heavy number of absentee ballots cast in the primaries. The prior charge of bootlegging piled onto the white-owned papers case that perhaps Smith deserved his fate, as Southern journalists often did then and sometimes do now. We could stop there, but here's a picture of that newspaper back then. So what is it that this man is trying to explain to us about Mississippi's history and about that being oh so long ago, when you've got the Nolan Wells case going on, okay? And the systemic racism is loud and clear. We can hear it. We can hear it. We can feel it. We can taste it. We can smell it. And now we are in 2026, in the middle of a case that already is supposedly causing racial divides down there. And this happens? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Another thing, Don, is we are a military community. That's how we got here. My dad is originally from Louisiana, and my mom's New Orleans, and my dad was military. That's how I got here through Keishla. And so we have Navy bases here and Air Force bases here. That's what we are. And it's a gumbo. Everybody, white people try their best to not ruffle the feathers of black people, and black people try their best not to ruffle the feathers of white people for the majority of it. So when Ben Crump come to this town and start saying things like that, he's alienating these people and he's getting pushback now. That's why he's getting all this pushback. And it's going to me, it's hurting the whole entire investigation, which is why he's probably not getting a lot of help from people. To me, that's the.
Let me tell you what Ben Crump and them did. They went down there to Mississippi and they swatted a hornet's nest, because while they're sitting up here trying to tell us that it is not racist down there, that they don't have any of that going on, and they're blaming him for this. No, let me explain to you what it is. That shit was laying just underneath the surface, and y'all was falling for the illusion that it was okay down there. Now, proof of that is what happened to Christine Wansley earlier today. Hopefully they don't.
Southern Palms Mazda is your fast and friendly
commercial. Where I know you guys already know what's going on. Y'all know that she was under investigation for false reports against her. Are you fucking shitting me?
An anonymous complaint against the mother of Nolan Wells was meant to silence her. Christine Wansley, the mother of Nolan Wells, says the professional misconduct case against her has been closed. The Mississippi Board of Nursing was investigating after an anonymous report. Wansley is a longtime Mississippi nurse. Crump argued the complaint was intimidation as she pushes for answers about her son's death. The state recently completed the autopsy on Wells' body. It will be turned over to the district attorney's office for a grand jury to review.
Harassing her on her job was not enough. They had to go and make a false report. So they're trying to silence Christine Wansley by going for her job. This right here with this woman, I said it on my Instagram video. I believe that this was a message to all y'all out there in Mississippi, people like Cousin Sunken Space. That's a message for y'all to watch y'all mouths or shut y'all mouths. That's what that is. And you think that we don't see this? Let me read to y'all what was going on before it got shut down. Okay. Anonymous complaint leads to investigation of Nolan Wells' mother, Crump says. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump announced Wednesday that the Mississippi Board of Nursing held a professional misconduct investigation into the job performance of Christine Wansley, the mother of Nolan Xavier Wells. The investigation was based on a complaint filed anonymously in the aftermath of the death of Wansley's son after he went missing on a trip to Horn Island with a group of friends. Christine Wells Wansley was robbed of her son 1 month ago, almost to the day, Crump said. She has spent every moment since asking one question: what happened to Nolan? Now someone is going after her nursing license anonymously without the courage to put a name on it. Crump called the complaint a warning shot at a grieving mother meant to pressure and scare her into staying quiet. It's a distraction, it is intimidation, and we will not let it stand, he said. Christine had part of her identity stolen from her the day Nolan died. Now someone is trying to take another piece of it. This is cruel. This cruelty knows no bounds. First of all, let me say this right here. I am sick of hearing this right here. It's a distraction. Okay. And let me just be very honest with y'all, and I don't give a damn how nobody takes this shit. You feel a way, you could take it and shove it up your ass after I say this. Legal actions need to be taken. See, white people that are racist in mind and action, who are hateful and cruel, they're violent, and they fight with the laws. You understand me? And sometimes you're going to have to clap back and you're going to have to slap them with litigations. Do you understand? This ain't a distraction. These people are coming for your livelihood. They've got to take action. Okay? The Malcolm X approach got to go. The Martin Luther King approach got to go. You got to bring in Malcolm X militants, okay? The whole we shall overcome being that shit got to go out the window at some place because it don't never get us no place. Now, I don't care who don't agree with me. They went on that website. They left those messages up there. It should have been harassment, mental anguish, okay? Lawsuits. Not that's a distraction. No, fuck that. Handle that and keep focused on the task. Multitask this thing. Because they sure are coming from all directions. They're doing everything that they can. And sometimes you just can't sit silent. But again, that's just my humblest of opinions. Now, it has announced that the case was closed. But if you ask me, it should have never been open. Okay? She worked for years as a nurse. It's time for beyond action. This ain't gonna satisfy. I'm sorry. It ain't gonna satisfy. Exactly, King CJ. King CJ just set it all for me. Okay? So quick to investigate and take actions for everyone else, especially in Mississippi, but not when it comes to others. That part. Why close the case? Get the police involved. See if the number that called to file the complaint came from who, and arrest them. Exactly. Exactly. Press charges. That we shall overcome shit ain't gonna get it everywhere. I'm just saying. Excuse me. Now, I'm not going to keep y'all on here much longer, but I never came back and addressed the Cajun Navy report either. And I'm going to tell you my outtake, my outlook on what the Cajun Navy had to say. But I also want y'all to hear from Brian Trasher's own mouth what this report is. Because I said this was nothing but a timeline of social media events. And that's basically what he said. So people reached out to the Cajun Navy. They were sending them stuff just like they were sending stuff to
after the
hold on.
For you say over 100 showing you is on paper.
All right. And he says in his reports what's missing. That authentication is missing. That metadata is missing. They say in the beginning of the report that this report is not a criminal. Right here, remember we had started reading this and then I was like, It says, this report organizes the supplied photographs, videos, and annotations, coordinates, and social media statements. It is not a law enforcement finding and does not determine criminal or civil responsibilities. Hello? This is a working analytical report. This is not a law enforcement report. This is information that he collected and he gathered. And the main thing in here and the main thing that he kept coming back to in this report was that they needed things to be verified. But people are running off with this. And this stuff right here, the content, he's telling you what the content is here. What is the picture of? Okay? He's telling you what was said, the statements that were given about these social media posts. I don't understand how nobody remembers stuff. This picture right here, people are running amok with this picture and saying that it shows that they were in two different places. No, it says that on one photograph, the mileage was off by 1.6 millis, what you call it? 1.6 miles or something like that. And the other one is 279. I think it was millimeters. But they're not that far off. And you know what this is? I think these are the coordinates from when the boys were on the boat. Hello? And then these are Brian Thrasher's photographs of Horn Island, or that's the guy's photographs of above. Then it's telling you what it is. This is not what people are thinking it is, and I'm going to let him tell you that for his damn self, okay? Nancy Grace wants to crack that case so bad, but Nancy Grace pissed me off when she did not take Janetta's word for what Janetta's word was and decided to go get her sound engineer. Okay? We don't need the stamp of somebody else to solidify one of ours. Do you understand me? Future JD said, I think they sent it to the Cajun Navy because the police don't want to do their job and investigate and tell the public what really happened. Well, they're going to tell you. Brian's going to tell you how this came about.
Page 12 of the United Cajun Navy report. It shows 3 boats and more anchored side by side. Boat number 3, the Palm Beach, and also the Triton, we believe, which is the boat that took Nolan to Horn.
She said the Triton, which we believe. That ain't the Triton. The Triton says Triton on the side. The Triton says Triton up here. There ain't none of that on there.
Island. It's also the boat that reportedly leaves, according to the occupants, without Nolan. They claim they begged him to board their vessel, but he said no. Let me understand this. According, Caitlin Becker, according to the mysterious Katie, not that mysterious because her sister has posted and we've obtained her photo, we think, she says he left with his friends. They say he stayed with her.
No. What Gracie said was Katie believes that Nolan left with his friends. And Gracie also said that Nolan told her that he left with his friends. But what Gracie and neither Katie have conveyed to us is whether or not she actually witnessed him leave with his friends.
Okay, that's a problem.
Yep. That's a problem. And there are also quite a few friends that he had come out with. So the Triton that he was on, there were 3 or 4 people on that particular boat. That's the one that he had come out on, and the one that his friends say, we asked him to get back on the boat. He didn't get back on the boat. His phone was on the boat. We left. We took on water. We needed help. He said he was going to stay to talk to this mysterious, as you said, Katie. Mysterious Katie says that she talked to him for a minute. It was no big deal. Then his friends called him back, and that's where he went, and she just assumed he went back on the boat with his friends. The issue I think that we're running into here is that the friends weren't just the 4 that you're seeing right here. There were multiple boats.
They weren't just the 3. You mean the 3? Because that's Nolan. Does she not even know what Nolan looks like? Yeah, I'm going to pick it apart. I am. No, it wasn't just these three guys. And I never thought that, well, you could say four, but it's three in the photograph. Okay. Number one. Number two, there are multiple ones. They're late to the draw with this. We already know it was about 20 to 30 people on that boat. But let's continue.
Three boats full of friends that came out. So could he have been going back to a second boat full of his friends?
Now, let's pull this up really quickly. Let me see if I got the other half to this, but let me go ahead and show y'all this right here. Ashley Cole, mother of Nolan's best friend Warren Hudson, previously said the group returned to shore after the boat developed a bilge pump problem while Nolan stayed behind. But Gracie insists her sister believed Nolan was headed back with the group he arrived with. So she believed, that does not sound too sure to me, but that she believed that he was going back with his friends. I'm going to find the other one for y'all because I know we've gone over it already, but let's go.
While the Triton was gone, or were they referring to the Triton itself? That, I think, is where the biggest bit of confusion lays.
Dave Mack, question. Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter, didn't at the get-go the friends on the boat state they didn't know the name of the girl? They didn't know who she was. They had never seen her before. I'm paraphrasing. We can look up their exact words. Then, does it turn out they're actually texting with her about where is Nolan?
Apparently, Nancy, you have to realize a couple things here, and it's getting lost in the muck and the mire, is the friends. We use the term Nolan's friends that he went to Horn Island with. Well, you know what, Nancy? Many people have said that he didn't know Katie, they didn't know Katie before that day, and that Nolan just started talking to her. But now it appears that they, being the group of friends, they were communicating with Katie and knew who she was, and that during
Then why would they say they didn't know who she was? Call her.
Oh, my bad. I meant to share this tab with y'all. This is the video. Brian, well, is this from the Cajun Navy?
Some girl. A girl.
Here's the
This is the video of from when they found Nolan's body. And I believe that to be Nolan on the shore. And I'm not going to zoom in, but this is from the Cajun Navy. So this is the video that he shot when they discovered Nolan's body.
the problem, Nancy, is I keep hearing friends, but you realize that Nolan, he went out to Horn Island on a boat. You know, Warren Hudson has talked a lot. He's been with Officer Tatum talking about, his best friend Nolan and the whole thing. But first of all, Warren did not go to Horn Island on the same boat as Nolan Wells. And we have heard over and over from parents and friends, he would.
And that's Warren right here in this video. This is Warren on the Palm Beach with 2 cans in his hand. Can y'all see that? Hold on. Let me zoom in for y'all. Can y'all see that? Right here. 2 cans of beer in his hand. And I didn't see Nolan.
Island on a boat. Warren Hudson has talked a lot. He's been with Officer Tatum talking about, his best friend Nolan and the whole thing. But first of all, Warren did not go to Horn Island on the same boat.
So this would be possibly the Triton?
As Nolan Wells.
Yeah, because it says Triton right there. This is the Triton. I'm assuming.
And
I don't see Nolan in the water in this video.
and we have heard
I don't see Nolan over here neither. I see a black person here, what may be a black person there, and a black person there, and black people here. I don't see Nolan.
over and over from parents and
Nope, still don't see Nolan.
friends, he would
Still don't see Nolan.
run with the one that got you there, right?
Still don't see Nolan.
So Nolan.
So is this the Triton? Is this the Triton? Because they've got the engine is up. It's not down in the water. No, this is not the Triton because it says Triton right across the front right here. But it says Garmin.
Went with one.
So this is Bart's boat. This might be Bart's boat because Bart's boat, those boats have a Garmin on top. So this might be Bart's boat right here, right next to them.
Boat, and they expected he would return on the same boat. Yeah.
I'm trying to look at this girl's arm. This girl that's sitting down on the boat. I'm trying to look at her other arm because Katie has a big ass tattoo on her shoulder. And I believe, no, I think it would be on this arm. Okay, so that's not Katie.
Different boats. And we keep focusing on the
I don't see Nolan nowhere, y'all.
one with the bilge pump problem. But now, what boat was Nolan Wells supposed to be going back to the mainland? We know he didn't ride with Warren Hudson to the island. So where was he supposed to be on?
Brian Trasher joining us, Vice President, United Cajun Navy.
So there goes Brian, but let me show y'all what I'm talking about. See that? Katie's got a tattoo on her arm of flowers. That's an identifiable mark. And her nose is very distinguished.
On the case from the very beginning, Brian, do we know the time of the CETO call made from the Triton?
We do. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know it's been reported, and obviously the CETO would have the exact time.
The time of the call was 3:48 p.m.
Some of that recording and stuff in their archives, but it seems like it was after 3 o'clock, before 4:30, and we know that the tow was canceled because somebody got in touch with Bart Edmondson, who ended up towing the boat himself, being a good Samaritan. And of course, now that poor guy is getting, raked over the coals just for being a good, what we try to tell everybody, to be neighbor helping neighbor.
Now, didn't the grandpa call and cancel the tow?
Yeah, I think that I saw that report as well, and it may have been that somebody contacted him and said, hey, we got somebody to tow us. So maybe he called because he had a better signal and said, hey, they don't need it anymore. Again, these are all kind of, the things that were already out there. I don't think we included too much about that in our report because it had been reported on so much. But I also just wanted to point out, too, on the photo on page.
That was never the plan. He was never going back on the same boat that took him to the island. So when we talk about this group of friends, Nancy, they were scattered on 3 or 4 different boats. And we keep focusing on the one with the bilge pump problem.
Let me see if I can find that photo. Well, here's the thing. I'm not about to get into all of that, but I am going to show y'all this. They all have on beads, except for whoever this guy is. They all have on beads.
But now, what boat was Nolan Wells supposed to be going back to the mainland? We know he didn't ride with Warren Hudson to the island. So what was he supposed to be on?
Brian Trasher joining us, Vice President, United Cajun Navy, on the case from the very beginning.
Brian, do we know the time of?
Okay, so you said most of those young men were drinking, as we've seen drinks in their hands, but emphasis is put on Nolan that he was heavily intoxicated and not that all were possibly. Here's my thing about that, CJ. If you want to say that Nolan was heavily intoxicated, they all were. And that's my stance on it. If he's heavily intoxicated, y'all all were heavily intoxicated. And him being heavily intoxicated or not, to me, doesn't. It's just like the Celeste case. The text messages, they don't solidify why she met her demise the way she did. And he doesn't. It did not solidify him either.
The CETO call made from the Triton?
We do. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know it's been reported, and obviously the CETO would have the exact time of that recording and stuff in their archives. But it seems like it was after 3 o'clock, before 4:30, and we know that
the CETO call, like I had said, the CETO call was placed at 3:48, p.m. That's what time the call was placed. 3:48 p.m.
tow was canceled because somebody got in touch with Bart Edmondson, who ended up towing the boat himself, being a good Samaritan. And of course, now that poor guy is getting, raked over the coals just for being a good, what we try to tell everybody to be, neighbor helping neighbor.
Now, didn't the grandpa call and cancel the tow?
Yeah, I think that I saw that report as well, and it may have been that somebody contacted him and said, hey, we got somebody to tow us. So maybe he called because he had a better signal and said, hey, they don't need it anymore. Again, these are all kind of, the things that were already out there. I don't think we included too much about that in our report because it had been reported on so much. But I also just wanted to point out, too, on the photo on page 14, this is one that we included, even though we could, there's a young man that matches Nolan's description, and I'm saying it that way because we can't verify that it's him in this picture, and he's partially in it because there's a girl blocking him, but
and the photograph that he's talking about on page 14 is one of the photographs, is the photograph that we looked at when I first pulled this up, and I asked the question, was this supposed to be Nolan? Because you can't really tell. I can't tell if that's Nolan. I can't tell if that's a female. I can't see very much. Now, what I will say is there does appear to be something around this person's neck, but those shorts look like they're a different colored blue. And I'm not 100% sure, but even he's saying that they can't tell whether or not that is Nolan. Would you say? Just like the block parties, there can be designated drivers and sober people at both parties, like the one at Horn Island on the 4th. There were likely a few sober people, possibly, but everybody had a drink in their hand. Hey, Droovy, I don't know why, but the dude from the Cajun Navy seems sketchy as fuck to me now, like he's bought off. Explain. This dude can kick rocks. Are you talking about the Cajun Navy dude?
it's a young slender African American male wearing blue swim trunks, from what you could see in the picture. According to the person that submitted that photo, it was taken at approximately 4:50 p.m. Central Time on July 4th, which would have been.
And that's the same photograph that they're showing. Yeah, I don't think this is Nolan. I don't. Every black person on that beach is not Nolan. Like, and it's starting to feel like that's what they're trying to say. Every black person on the beach was Nolan. There wasn't that many based off of the pictures that we saw, but we know that there were more black people on the island than just Nolan.
And after the GPS data says that the Triton had left Horn Island. Now, that's only relevant if this young man in the picture actually turns out to be Nolan. We never could verify it, but we thought it was important enough to at least include as a possibility.
So basically, all this stuff is in this TMZ report is stuff that was obtained from people sending the Cajun Navy stuff that's been circulated online. That's what's in that TMZ report. And that is why I did not come back with the information, because it's not verified information. And you see that if people are really reading this, it says right here, caution on the clock interpretation, right here. The displayed times are visible on the screen recorded social media content. They may be the phone's current time when the screen recording was made rather than the original event recording time. Authentication requires the underlining original post file, platform metadata, or testimony from the original recorder. See, people aren't bothering to read this part of what's being said in this report. He's telling you right there in these reports that this needs to be verified, that it has not been verified. It says wide panorama videos are valuable for physical context and vessel feature matching standing alone. However, they do not supply reliable event time stamp for a full movement track. Again, he's telling you that this information is not verified. There's no metadata. There's no timestamp on it. No, none of that. So while people are going through this and picking it apart, I didn't even show y'all. So this is what I'm saying about this right here. And I was reading what was captioned underneath the photograph and explaining to y'all that he's saying that while this video basically, it's a wide panoramic shot and it does hold value, however, they do not supply the reliable event timestamp or a full movement track. Okay? And then y'all have to remember this. Y'all have to remember this post, the Matthew Lamp post. I remember this post because we talked about this. Matthew Lamp said one of my passengers is pretty certain he was part of the group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. The Bertram with the blue top that I posted left shortly after and pretty fast. That's where everyone is getting this pretty fast from. But that has not been verified. That is the only person that said it. And then you had someone in his comment section say, Matthew Lamp, sir, you are sadly mistaken. We are the group you yelled at as you pulled up thinking we were going to hit you, and we weren't. And we were paying attention. Totally different kid was with us. I was with the Bertram boat. And we had no affiliation with him. This girl, Melissa Thomas, is saying she was with the Bertram boat. We hate to hear that this happened, but do not smear people if you do not actually see something happen. This causes more issues for the people in charge trying to find this baby, and it creates stories that are false. We didn't speak to the boys, and at that moment, he did have an entire vodka bottle in his hand. You need to revamp your statement and not put blame towards anyone. You don't even know what happened. But I will tell you, you are mistaken. Give the cops my name. I will let them know who we really had on our boats. So the whole thing that everybody's who was on the Bertram and the Bertram was this and that, this girl was on the Bertram. And this post was posted a while ago when this case first broke. Okay, so let me say this to everybody, and I'm being so honest from the bottom of my heart and sincere. Let me just say this. I get that everybody is skeptical of everything. I've already talked about that, Cindy. I already talked about that, babe. Let me say this. What I've noticed in this case is the minute that something doesn't go along with the popular consensus, they're compromised, they're coons, they're this, they're that, they're sellouts, they've been threatened. I'm gonna need y'all to explain to me what makes y'all believe that the Cajun Navy, which is a volunteer group, which means they have no ties to anything, they volunteer. What have they said or done that makes you believe that they are compromised? And I'm seriously asking this question because everybody loves everybody until. Is it because this report is not what everybody thought it was? Is it because they came out and they said that they asked Ben Crump if he wants them to use their cadaver dogs? And they said Ben Crump turned them down. The Cajun Navy took sides because they got mad at Ben Crump saying they said Nolan was fully clothed. So them wanting him to correctly quote them is picking a side and not making sure that they keep their integrity, is what you're telling me? So the cadaver dog thing. The Cajun Navy is not a part of the police. They're not a part of the Coast Guard. The Cajun Navy works independently, voluntarily, and they have their own set of cadaver dogs that they could use. Ben Crump has never denied that, though. Ben Crump has never come out and never said that that was a lie and that they never asked him. Ben Crump do not have the jurisdiction to search anyone's boat. He doesn't, but the Cajun Navy can ask, hey, can we bring the dogs on your boat? You're talking from a police standpoint. These guys are not police. They're not even Coast Guard. However, they assist. They render aid. I'm really getting kind of confused, and I'm being so sincere and honest with y'all. I'm getting, from a legal standpoint, says who? Says who? Did the sheriff say that? Not responding is turning them down. Okay, first of all, you need to go back and really watch that. And I think maybe take a break because and furthermore, Ben Crump can't give them permission to put dogs on someone else's boat. No. But if he wanted them to use the cadaver dogs, they could ask, hey, can we bring the dogs on the boat? They can request. What they cannot do is they cannot force and they cannot demand. Only the police can force and demand. But the Cajun Navy cannot force or demand, but they can ask. Thank you. Thank you, Druvy. Thank you. They can ask. It's not like the sheriffs that can just show up to your house with the dogs with a search warrant and you're forced, but they can ask. See, my problem is not responding is saying no. My problem is no matter which way this story goes, nobody's going to be satisfied. Everybody only wants to hear that these boys killed Nolan and they hung him from a tree and they beat the shit out of him. That's what everybody wants to hear. You know how I know that's what everybody wants to hear? Because those are the only narratives that everybody is satisfied with. Nobody is satisfied with anything. No one trusts nobody. Everybody is suspicious. This person was cool today. Now they're not cool tomorrow, but everybody is championing and rallying around Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace, the same person who had bigoted ideologies towards Carmelo Anthony. Everybody is calling Nancy Grace a hero for getting what she's done in the past. Why would they go and ask the police when obviously what I get from you want to know what I get from the Cajun Navy? I get that the Cajun Navy really wants to see justice in this case. And the reason why they didn't go to the sheriffs is because they know that they're corrupt. Why would I go to a corrupt agency or an agency that I even feel is not handling this case properly and ask them, hey, can I use my cadaver dogs over there? Why didn't the sheriffs ask? Why didn't the sheriffs put the dogs on the boat? That's a better statement. Nancy, that's not true. Everybody does not want the truth because they don't want to handle the truth. If it comes back, and I'm telling you now because I've already asked people this question, if it comes back that these boys did not do anything to Nolan at all, and things were misconstrued with that audio, not saying anybody did anything, but just saying, what if we think we're hearing something that we're not hearing? Because what people are also not bringing out there, and I'll play it for you because I have the original audio. There's a part in that audio where the girl says it's sinking, and nobody picked up on that. I've watched every audio. Nobody picked up on that. Nobody. I've watched narratives be spun that they have purposely tried to sink the boat. Why would you purposely try to sink the boat and put yourself in danger, as well as everybody else that's on the boat? Why would the grandfather say, sink my boat? People are locked on one narrative and one narrative only. And if it steps outside their box, they don't want to hear it. And I'm not saying everybody. Let me play the original audio for you. I don't hear that. I don't know where that came from. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to my Instagram.
Connect you.
This, this is the original audio, and the only transcript that is going out is the transcript that's being picked up. Salute to the ruler report. The only transcript that's being picked up is what the operator and Wyatt are saying. But put your headphones on and listen. There's no transcription here.
Connected.
Cito Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help?
Do you hear cover it up? I don't know where that came from. I don't know how to enhance any of this stuff. I don't need to do no more. First of all, let me explain something to you, because now you about to get read for filth. It's your character. No, it's your character. I don't need to do any more research and inform myself. I don't sound ignorant or uneducated. You, my dear, sound very ignorant and biased because you won't expand your mind to anything else. You're one of those people. You just sat here and made a whole bunch of ignorant ass statements in my chat about the Cajun Navy. Your whole basis of being upset with them is because they said that they offered cadaver dogs to Benjamin Crump. You're mad about that. But you're not even able to expand your mind to understand that at the end of the day, those people asking to work with Ben Crump instead of offering assistance to the sheriff should be a big red flag to you. You're not intelligent enough for this conversation. Ben Crump never said that they didn't offer the cadaver dogs to him. And I just sat here and explained to you why they wouldn't. They don't have to have a, they can't force anybody to do. I just sat here and very patiently and articulately explained to you. And you still want to come back and be ignorant. You know what? I'm going to do you a favor. Get the fuck out my chat, ho. Now I'm going to be ignorant. I don't mind a debate, but don't come in here trying to comfort me because you can't comprehend. I appreciate everybody that comes to the bar, sits down, we have conversation. I ask y'all honest questions. Y'all keep it respectful. Shit, Purple Doll says she don't fuck with the Cajun Navy neither, but guess what? We're not going back and forth. She feel how she feels. She articulated herself very well. And that's the type of shit that I'm talking about. That is a prime example of what I mean when I say, when I don't go with somebody's narrative, they have a problem. Now I'm ignorant and I need to do more research when I've been covering this case from the beginning. And because I choose not to go with the popular narratives and think for myself, it's a problem. I'm ignorant. No, I'll show you how ignorant I could get. Because what I said is absolutely true. Keisha, bye, bitch, you're banned. You think I'm going to play with you and I'm going to keep playing with you, Keisha? Bye. Now you're not here no more. Keisha here, Keisha gone. Anyway, let me compose myself because I said I wasn't going to do this no more. I wasn't going to get up here and curse people out and give them what they want. At the end of the day, all of us think for ourselves. All of us believe what we believe. We see what we see and we hear what we hear. And I don't debate what anybody hears. I don't debate what anybody sees. But what I'm trying to do is remain even in this conversation. Because at the end of the day, if they come back and it's not the boys and it was somebody else, what y'all gonna say? All of y'all that are wanting it to be the boys so bad. What about not y'all in the chat? I'm just talking to the people in the back. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do if it comes back that there was a freak accident that happened? What you gonna do? What if it really was the people on the tent? See, everybody's missing details here, and details are important. Nobody, and all of y'all that are in here right now are people that have been in here. Hey, Mama Flip, are people that have been in here. I have talked to y'all about the storm that rolled in on July 5th in the evening that caused them to put the search to a halt. And Brian Thrasher, the same one that chick over there had a problem with, he's the one that came and told us that when he was on Nancy Grace. He said a storm rolled through and it chopped up the Gulf. And then he explained how the currents could have brought him back. And he said he wasn't exactly where he was last seen at, but he was close to it. That's what he said. I remember that. What if Nolan did go in the water? What if he did go back with somebody? Everybody's looking at the white boys. Hear me out before you click off. What if he did catch a ride on whatever boat that was going fast? What if he fell off that boat? What if they didn't notice till they got back further into the sea, further out? What if they decided to cover it up? Whoever's boat he was on. What if it was somebody else? What if it was Katie's brother? What if it was somebody else that saw Nolan interacting with white women on that beach and didn't like it? What if Nolan didn't want to get on the boat because the boat was taking on water and sinking? What if what we were hearing on that audio, we're misconstruing because there's two things going on at the same time? You got the boat taking on water and you got them yelling Nolan. What if Nolan really was still on the land and the people yelling his name did not know that he was still on the island? My volume's a little low. Hold on one second. Where the hell did I put my little microphone at? Hold on, I'll fix it. And let me tell you why I'm saying that. Hold on. Okay, is that better, Druvy? Can y'all hear me better? Okay. Well, I put my microphone on so y'all can hear me a little better. What if it was the people that were on the tent, in the tents? What if he really didn't leave the island? People aren't talking about or pushed off the boat, right? What if he was underwater and a boat went over him, but he didn't hit the propeller? The boat hit him, and that's where that red mark came from. What if he hit his head underwater coming back up, thinking he was coming back up for air and hit his head on the boat and just drowned? Like, there's so many possibilities, and we don't have very much in the way of reliable information. We have grainy photos. We have Photoshop photographs. We've got mysterious anonymous people who are saying that they were witnesses reaching out to content creators. We don't know what happened, yet we're crucifying people. And I agree with you, Nancy. All them people out there, somebody knows something, saw something, heard something. And if it ain't the boys that they're covering up for, who the fuck are they covering up for? I don't want to lock myself into a scenario and I miss something else because, like I said, people are not talking about that storm. And if his body went into that water not too far from shore, his body will wash back up ashore. Why didn't they see his body on the 5th? Well, because on the 5th, his body was probably underwater and they couldn't get the sonars to work. You know, the sonar drones to look down in the water and see what's in the water. They couldn't get them to work. They were overheating. They were malfunctioning. And not only that, if he went in the water on the 4th, he would still be underwater. But here comes that storm. And that storm kicks up. And that storm brings him back to shore. That's a possibility. Because he was found not too long after they started their search efforts again. And how do we know that? Because we read it. And I agree with you, Grace Song. Why are they not coming forward? The people who were out there should have been in numbers. Yes, speaking hypothetically, say he did drown. If we had the neck, throat, lungs, okay, we're only missing the neck structure. We're not missing the whole neck. We're missing the neck structure, which you could call the throat, and the lungs were there as well. How do I know that? It's in the autopsy report. The brain was there, the lungs were there, the stomach was there. The only thing the medical examiner marked as missing, the pathologist, the independent autopsy that was done, the pathologist only said that the neck structure was missing, not the lungs, not the brain, not the stomach, not anything else. And any narratives that are running that Nolan got beat, the pathologist dissected Nolan's body from head to toe, including his buttocks and his pelvic area, his torso, his arms, his legs. And they checked for bruising and fractures, and they found none. So Nolan was not beat. I also heard someone say that they heard a gunshot on the audio. There's no gunshot in the audio, and Nolan was not shot. He has no bullet wounds. Nancy, they did not. I've gone over this so many times. I'm so tired of talking about this autopsy. Here is the autopsy report. Let me get it up on the screen. I'm doing this for Nancy. Right here. Wait, let me go up. First page. Coronal incision of the scalp. Brain removed. Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso. Organs removed. Accompanying the body in the body cavity. The organs were accompanying the body in the body cavity. The only thing that is marked as absent is the anterior internal neck structures. That's what's absent. Everything else was there. And how do we know that? Because it says accompanying the body in the cavity, which means they did not put the heart back, the liver back, the brain back, the lungs back, the stomach back, the kidneys. They didn't put all of that stuff back where it goes. They put it inside of the body cavity, which was explained to be how they normally do. Okay? And then it says down here, when we get to this section, because the initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ. Meaning the first autopsy, they already cut up the organs and observed them. They dissected them. There were additional limits inherent to the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and lungs for water, directly observe the stomach for gastric contents. They could not, because the lungs and the stomach were already dissected, they could not observe the lungs for water. They could not observe the stomach for its contents. But it does not say that because the lungs were absent. Yeah. I can't even, it's fine, Nancy. What it is because so many people have said it, so many people believe it. And this is what I mean by, this is what I mean. It's cool. It's fine. You can ask questions. My frustration is not with your questions. My frustration is because everybody that's in here can tell you how many times I've had to go over the autopsy. Because it's just out there. Everybody is saying that the lungs are missing. Everybody's saying the brain is. So I don't mind. I'm glad to give clarity. And welcome. I'm sorry you caught me on a bad night where I'm just like, I've had it. Like, I'm just a little frustrated today. We normally are very good people over here. Okay, Pilot J, Gray Song hasn't said anything over here. King CJ said possibly still centers around that phone. What was the reason to erase his phone and keep it? Someone didn't want something on the phone seen. Still too suspicious to try to cover up. Here's the thing. We don't even know if anything was removed from the phone or not. The mother said that it was suspicious, that she believes that people remove stuff from the phone. I'm not sticking up for nobody. Let me just be very clear to all the new people that may be here watching in the back. I'm not sticking up for nobody. I'm just trying to keep the record honest as to what was said, what wasn't said, what we've heard. I said that Ben Crump keeps saying that. Yeah, Ben Crump hasn't said that the lungs were missing. He says the throat was missing. And then he also says that the red mark is on the back of Nolan's neck or the back of his brain. It's the back of his head. It's the back of his head on the occipital bone. Like right there where the occipital bone is. So it's like kind of lined up with your eyes in the back of your head. Swagger, what you laughing at? So, I mean, we don't even really know if there was anything missing from the phone, but I will tell you this, we will find out because she did subpoena all of those phone. She subpoenaed Snapchat. She wants the records from off their server. And if she can get that information off their server, we gonna know the truth. She also subpoenaed all metadata, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. She subpoenaed TikTok as well. Exactly, Droovy. I stick to what we can pull back up. I don't really go, if you're new here, I don't go off of what is being said. I try to stay away from it. I'll report on it if I have to, but other than that, I try to keep a clean record over here of what's been going on. I do have my opinions. I do give my theories. I've given theories on the boys doing it. I've given theories on Katie's people doing it. I've given different scenarios over here, but yeah, I agree, Purple Doll. I agree, Buki. I do. She said, this is just a really emotional case. I love all y'all. No harm intended. No, baby, there's no harm in here, boo. Listen, for the most part, all of y'all that are in here, be in here. And I appreciate y'all. because it's not easy to come out here on this internet and give people a different perspective, because people don't want different perspectives. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just want the salaciousness. They want the scandal. They want, and I don't understand why. And when I said earlier that people want things to be, it's because that's what I see. People want this to be so horrific, so gruesome, so grotesque. And what if it's not that? And if it is that, then okay, it's that. But I really am waiting to hear from the family. I'm not even waiting to hear so much from authorities. I want to hear from the family what they've been told happened. I know for 420 Palm, hey boo. She said some of us sit in the bushes and listen. I know for 420. Mysterious, where you been, girl? It's just my opinion, but it seems like if he was put in a chokehold and strangled, that would be why they didn't send throat and also cause red mark in the back of the head. Now, I agree with that. That could be. That very well could be a possibility. And see, I don't have a problem with possibilities, but I'm not trying to sit up here and be one of those people that's making this worse. I'm one of those people, if I'm being honest with you, I don't want it to be something that's horrific. We've watched enough horrific shit happen. This mom needs peace and closure. Hey, Mel. Mel watching from the bushes. Uh-oh, you done seen me curse somebody out, Mel. My bad. I try to be on my best behavior. You in the bushes at work, true Scorpio. Hey, boo. Ruby Red said, us over here just want the truth. That's a fact. I could do without all of that scandal. So if you come here, don't expect it to be salacious. Expect us to laugh. Expect us to think. Expect us to have a good time. Expect us to have some dialogue back and forth. I don't want all of that. But I don't feed into that. And it's not so popular. You know, we've already had our conversations about race. We know good and damn well race is involved in this, whether it be in what happened to Nolan or it be the system. We know that racism is here, and especially after that young woman was found behind that vacant. So I don't want to hear it. But anyway, you guys, it is getting late. It is 11 p.m. on the East Coast. I don't know where you guys are, but I am going to shut this down. Here to listen and get great facts. I know. Thank you, Rock My Baby. It's Mississippi. It's going to be something. I know, Future JD. We know it's going to be something. I will say I am very disappointed in the community of people that were there on that island, though, because with all of those people out there, maybe somebody saw something and they don't know what they saw. Maybe they didn't realize that they were watching something unfold. Maybe they're scared to come out and say something. We don't know if there's threats that's been going on behind the scenes or any of that. We're assuming that. We're assuming it. I just caught up. I was behind in the live. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Mama Zay. Yep, you rolling. I know, Mama. I know if ain't nobody else here. Mama Zay is here tearing up the highway. Shout out to all of the lady truckers out there. All the truckers, period, but shout out to the lady truckers. I don't know. Ruby, I swear to you, I have no idea where Jax is. None. I know you are, Swagger. I was just saying, I'm like, yo, no, where is Jax? Why didn't Jax? But I'm going to tell you something. The reason why these boys are not going on no more than interviews is because they don't like the fact that they're being drugged. But my thing is with this, before we go, let me say this. Forget all of that. Nolan was heavily intoxicated. Put that to the side for a second. Let's just think about this. It is the 4th of July. We've all agreed that there was some kind of drinking going on. It's a celebration, right? They're teenagers. They're drinking. Shouldn't be, but they are. How can we take anyone's account of anything at face value if they were all drinking? Hey, Tashi Boo. I'm just saying. Yes, the person who owns the boat that took Javon to and from Horn Island, a realtor claimed a Nolan sighting, but took her post down when everyone who posted anything started receiving threats. Yeah, that I don't like. I do not condone people making death threats against anyone. Like that to me is just going too far. Covering up the cover up. Traction did say push us, see what happens. We did, and now they pushing us back, and we pushing still. If that reward goes up to $1 million, I'll be out there my damn self trying to solve the case. Go to bed, swagger. Hey, Coco Boo. She said there's something fishy about the grandfather canceling the tow if Bart was already there. I don't know. We can't. They may not remember half of the day. That's what I'm saying. True that teenagers drinking is not the most reliable or credible source of information. This is why those adults that were out there need to say something. But maybe the adults were shit-faced drunk. How about that? Henny, why didn't they get subpoenas for everyone that was in the photos' phones? We don't know what happened. Like, okay, so when Bart, his lawyer, when they made their statement, they said that Bart turned over his phone. Listen, Bart snitched. Y'all do know that, right? Bart snitched his behind off. Bart went up there. He gave them people a list of 60 witnesses and gave them a passenger manifesto of who was on his boat, gave them his telephone and cooperated. Bart said, I'm telling. I'm telling what I know. Now, what he told, what he know, we don't know, and we won't know anytime soon. But yeah, tempers rise more when you're drinking, and allegedly there were arguments that led to what? Exactly. That's another thing. There was multiple arguments that broke out, scuffles, but what we do know is Nolan didn't have any bruises on his body. So I don't think Nolan got into a fight. I think the town put everybody, the town could have. That's what I was just saying. It led to a couple fights. Why would they need call Cito if Bart was already towing them out? Because I don't think Bart was towing them yet. Bart dropped a pocket full of dimes. Listen, you hear me? We won't know until the grand jury comes back. Yeah, the grand jury has to conclude their investigation before anything. And I'm willing to bet that if they did share anything with the family is probably unable to say anything until the investigation is done. Because if they reveal anything in the grand jury, they could receive legal consequences for opening their mouths and saying anything. So that was something else that was slipped in my ear. Like, maybe they're not telling them anything because if they tell Christine, they have to tell Christine in front of Ben Crump. But, the whole thing is, even with all of this, we still want to know what damn it Bart means. Okay, we want to know that. Yeah, he did because they was trying to make him a scapegoat. The coach debunked the story about Nolan being drunk. He said he spoke to Nolan and he was fine. Warren said that they had all been drinking. Nolan was drinking, but every time he spoke to Nolan, Nolan was fine. So my thing is, I don't think Nolan was sloppy drunk. I don't think Nolan was drunk at all. Do I think he had a couple of beers? Maybe, yes. And he had at least one because he had a beer in his hand in the photo. But I don't believe that he was sloppy drunk. I don't. And I don't know where that narrative came from. That's the sad part. I don't know who said that. I know In the MDMR report, it says, in the email, the in-house email, it said that he was heavily intoxicated. I don't know who told them that. But you do want to know what I find suspicious? And then I got to go after this. When Officer Taintum, you know, the taint hair that is an ingrown hair, yeah. He said that all the boys took the equivalent of a lie detector test. Everyone except for Warren. What does Warren know? Or what did Warren do? Or who's threatening Warren? Hi, she said, I done started the replay. No overthoughts, I ain't leave yet. I don't know who said it, Ruby. I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out because Warren called the Coast Guard. The mom called MDMR. It's in the MDMR report that she called them and they patched her through to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. And then come the next morning, the Sheriff's Office took over the case from the MDMR. So who did they speak to? Because the sheriffs also said that they spoke to several of the friends. So they must have spoke to them that night or that morning, because it would have been early morning, because Christine called them. So Warren called Christine at 11:07 p.m. Christine called and was trying to figure out who she had to make the missing reports with. If I'm not mistaken, it was close to midnight. And then the police met up with her at like 12:47 or something like that, 12:53. It was a weird time. They met up with her. And then the next morning, when the MDMR spoke to the sheriff or the shift commander over there at the sheriff's office, they told MDMR that they were taking over the case. I'm just saying this off the top of my head, so I could be a little off. But yeah, by that morning, the sheriff's office had conducted interviews and spoken to several of the friends already, and they took over the case from there. So who gave that information that he was heavily intoxicated when Warren said that Nolan was drinking, but that he seemed fine every time he spoke to him? Trayston said everybody was drinking, but I don't recall Trayston saying that he was drunk. So who gave them that information? We don't know. We won't know until the investigation is over. We got on Bart, no Homer. Oh my goodness. That one kid said he was drunk, but I can't remember the guy's name. The one with the little mustache, I think. Oh, I know who you're talking about. The one who did the interview with Inside Edition. Is that who you're talking about, Jessica? Hey, Creative Minds. Warren is a shady character, in my humble opinion. Hey. We got Bart and a Warren who did what, when, how, why, how and why. The audio showed them saying what they say. Who was the girls on the boat on the audio is what I want. I want to know that too. I want to know that too. I honestly think they're all covering for a bigger fish. I was thinking that, but I can't figure out who the bigger fish would be right now. But whoever it is somebody that's got a lot of power, a lot of pull, and a lot of influence, or somebody who's related to someone who has all of that. Now, I know that there's rumors of the Dixie Mafia family, and I've gotten some earful I've gotten an earful. And people who were related, there's one particular family down there in Mississippi. I don't want to say their name. I don't want no smoke. But they're huge down there. That family name is huge. I just want to know who was the girls from the audio. And I already said that. Yeah, I want to know that too. A serious conversation was had, and then the cover-up began. More than likely. Grand jury findings will be huge. I can't wait for that. Yeah, I don't even know who he is. He did that one little interview, and then he just disappeared. Is somebody related to a politician? Possibly. Possibly. Maybe related. Do y'all think maybe they could be related to the governor? I don't know. It's old money down in Mississippi. You are 1000% correct. I just took the CETO audio, put gain on some other sections. You can hear someone asking Bart, what did you do? Listen, I'm not getting involved in any of that. There's too much scandal with that. I will play the original audio. I'm not altering nothing. I am not. All I did was drop the music down. I'm not getting into all of that. My question is, who is Katie's father? Apparently, Katie's father used to work with the fire department. And I found out what the comment, that's Dixie's daughter, may mean, because Katie's mom, Dixie, she passed away from cancer. So rest in peace to her mom. But her mom used to teach elementary school out there in Mississippi. Right with you, Henny. I think it was possible. And I'm going to leave it right there. The grandfather, period. These are 18, 19, and 20 and 21-year-olds who are loosely connected, more than 20 of them on 2 boats. They didn't take a blood oath or are all members of a lodge or members of a team. Well, they were on 3 boats. And I want to know who rode off on the Palm Beach. Because Warren only said one of my buddies drove off on the Palm Beach. And there was 3 other people. So there was 4 people on the Palm Beach. It was either 3 or 4 people on the Palm Beach. Maybe the grandfather. I heard he managed the boat area, whatever it's called, allegedly. I don't know. I'll say it for you. Jack's family. Ruby, what am I going to do with you? This guy was telling Secret Sam about the Dixie Mafia and was telling him if he wanted information to DM me. Yeah, I saw that. I said, Sam, you better get that information, but be careful. People rat on each other when they're members of the same team, like the Baylor basketball team or a mafia family. Well, you're right. They do snitch on each other. The first one to snitch gets the best deal. He's a fire chief, Katie's father. I thought he retired, or is he still? 4 people rode out fast, possibly, but it wasn't a Bertram. It was the Palm Beach is the name, the brand of the boat. So the Palm Beach is the kind of boat that it is. It's not like how the Mac Daddy boat has a name on the back of it. The Palm Beach is the type of boat. It was an 18-foot Palm Beach boat. You told me that they were talking about feet. And then, there's the Triton, and then there was the Tideline. But nobody in that group rode out on a Bertram boat. And I'm wondering if that's the boat that Trayston rode out on. But remember the girl, I just read the text message. The girl who was correcting the guy, Mark Lamp, said she was riding on a Bertram boat. So I don't know. Yeah, but something could have happened on the Triton on the way back with no one on the Palm Beach witnessing anything. Yeah, but why did the Palm Beach leave early is my question. Because if the Triton was taking on water and they left out of there with 20 to 30 people between the 3 boats, Why would the Palm Beach leave with only 3 or 4 people on it? And I know Warren said that more people than just Nolan stayed behind. They made it back. Where are they at? We don't even know who else was all with them when they rode out. That's a lot of people. And Warren also said that there were girls that were on the boat with him and Bart that rode out to the island with them. So when we get down to these girls that were on the boat, could these girls have been girls from the college? Could they have been? I know I saw where the lady J, shout out to her, she had said that she believes that that's Katie on the boat. But the thing about that is Katie's sister has said that Katie rode back with their brother. Let me put that back up here real quick. See, Katie had a conversation and assumed Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came on, Gracie told Daily Mail. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him, she added. Gracie said her sister had traveled to Horn Island with a different group before later leaving with her brother Tony and his fiancée, Eva Criddle. We have given all answers we can give to his mom and authorities, she added. So, I don't know. There was a surveillance camera that had the kids leaving to go to the island. So where's the video of them coming back? They have it. The authorities absolutely have to have it. I think it was in the MDMR transcript. Remember, they said the first boat, I don't remember the type, drove off fast with 4 people. That would be the Palm Beach. I don't know. The police probably have it and don't want them sharing it publicly. Right. It's so much to this case, my head hurts. Girl, now do you see why I be quiet sometimes and I don't say nothing? I keep saying Katie is just an eater whose name got thrown in the fire. And Katie is trying to get her name, her sister at least, is trying to get her name out that fire. There's too many suspects to say the least. While everyone focusing on the friends, there's hundreds more drunk people that could have done it and nobody looking at them because they stuck on the kids. That part, that damn part, that's what I'm saying. We have to hear from Katie's own mouth, not from someone speaking for her. Well, the only thing that we did get, it wasn't from Katie's mouth. It was from Katie's fingertips, is where she typed back this dude, Maury, who's supposed to be one of Nolan's cousins that live over there in Pascagoula, who knows, or Pasaguela. I know I said it wrong, and I'm sorry. She said, what's understood don't have to be said. I love y'all. Just pray for his family and his friends. I'm good, and all I could do is pray for healing over them. This is a terrible situation all in all. That's all she said. Katie ain't said nothing else outside that. It's all been Gracie talking for her, which I find odd. But then again, I don't know. Would y'all talk to the public? I don't know. They said that the brother, she went with the brother. When will Katie start speaking for herself? Seems suspicious. That's a fishing boat. Uniquely, you late, girl. Because Katie was too busy being the life of the party. Oh, Lord. She's receiving enough threats as is. Can you imagine how those threats would increase if she gave a public interview like Warren or Tristan? Well, apparently, how many of y'all remember on Chappelle's show where they had Bigsby? Was his name Clayton Bigsby? The blind black guy who was who was part of the Klan and he didn't know he was black? Was it Clayton Bigsby? I know one of y'all know. Overthought said I wouldn't speak to the public. Me neither. That's his name? That's who Officer Tatum is. That's who Brandon Tatum is. Yeah, she does need to speak for herself. Yes, that's him. He's blind and he don't know he's black. So from now on, when I say Clayton Bigsby, y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. Nah, he ain't Uncle Ruckus, because Uncle Ruckus, at least you saw little signs Uncle Ruckus did give a damn sometimes. They were far and in between. And he may not have liked black people, but he sure worked around them and worked with them and for them, because he worked for Grandpa. That's the same thing you said about Tatum. Yes, he's Clayton Bigsby, the Black Klansman. Oh, God. You remember originally Katie's sister made a statement that Katie got away safely. What did she mean by that? I don't know. That's what I was looking for, the original statement. I don't know where it is. I've got so much stuff from this case. I have no idea where it is. But yes, she was like, Katie is safe, and she's safe because she left with my brother and his fiance. She was not a part of it, da 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 da, whatever she said. I mean, listen, this is the stuff that makes me go, okay. He's definitely not like us at all. At all. And I don't like him. I got the hiccups. And now that I've said that, they should stop. I gotta put a damn thumbnail on this live, but I really just wanted to jump on here and chop it up with y'all really quickly. I didn't really have much planned out in the way of content. I just came to talk to y'all. I'm telling you that Tristan saying Nolan was kind of alluding to getting some ass makes me ponder. Where did he allude to that? You know what, Kristen? I'm not doing this with you tonight. Possibly Katie and Nolan had a little time on the island together, and this happened, and now she all caught up. Maybe. Listen, anything is possible. But anyway, I want to thank y'all for tapping in, tuning in, and hanging out with your girl. I appreciate y'all so very much. Every time is a good time and a great time. Continue to be critical thinkers and free thinkers, because that's what makes us dangerous. So when y'all rest well, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Thank you, everybody. Peace. Because I don't want this simple life.